I was born into a world of color and glitter, of chai tea and Pacific sunsets, bathed in a culture that went further than my blood, raised by those who wanted to blur lines, taught to see from a young age, to breathe in the sights around me, not by eyes nor nose nor ear, but by my heart. Draped in the most peaceful of winters, bathed in the most radiant of summers, I have been taught legacies that have stood the test of time. The way an eye glimmers as a tear pools in its corners, the light that is seen when all lights are turned off and the stars alone light the sky. The way laughter can literally take a room of grainy monotone into a clear symphony of color. I have been told to merge the senses, to not hear, to not see, to not taste, to not feel, but simply to live. The potential I hold in my fingertips is too much to put into words, too much to simply rely upon. My world was defined in curious quantities, how many lights it took for a tree to shine, how much wind was needed to wisp the leaves around my house, how much sugar it took to make my tongue feel like it was draped in a thick layer of dreams defined simply by what my mind gave them shape to be, and how much snow it would take for the deer's footsteps to be seen in the morrow. I was taught that footsteps were important, that the marks we leave on the world would one day turn into their own Pacific sunsets, that the sweetness of the young's chai tea would be defined by the sweetness I put forth as an extension of myself into the world. I was told that footprints on the sand were indeed not the footprints on life all parents hoped their children would be the ones to create, because footprints on the sand are white to the sea, twisted into the froth, burdened with the load of other particles, other dirt, other dust, other things lurking past the water's edge. I was taught that to make the right kind of footprints, I would have to be a certain person. I would need to be a version of myself who wasn't afraid to shake things up, or to cast a shadow over the dullness of the world from the light I could brandish across my chest. Inside my eyes and through my pupils, given to me by my mother and father, I could see the world as I and a generation of individuals with the same possibilities to create at their fingertips, to find an infinite combination of hopes. However, I do not see why this hope for the future soon began to reflect the shadow that would be casted, the people I would be forced to leave behind on the journey, and the part of myself I would have to pry from my heart to leave on the ground, because if I didn't, I would be holding myself back from making those footsteps on the world that were more permanent than the ones everyone put in the sand. As if those were not good enough. As if I had to be better than everyone else to make a difference. When I was young, I was told that every fallen leaf was beautiful because they all cast a shadow of glory as they made the journey from the branch to the ground, for they had served their purpose of giving the tree nourishment throughout that year. These leaves did not stab the tree. They did not press so hard that they left permanent marks. They did not try to sculpt it into another shape. They simply furthered the tree's life. If all leaves start the same, if all leaves are also destined to bloom into their own color come fall, a color and texture different from those around them, how is this generation of hopes and dreams any different than leaves nourishing trees? I don't want to change things. I don't want to make a difference. I want to nourish the world and make it stronger for tomorrow. I want to work in unison with those hopes in my generation to build our tree taller and taller every year. And when I die, I hope it is in a shade of beauty that reflects who I am. But I long to lay with my fellow leaves as we all mark the ground around the tree we raised together. I long to be a footstep left on the sands of life, because I do not see the sand that it would mix with when the froth comes to claim it as a burden, but as a promise. That I and those who walk before me are all still continuing to nourish the land we called home. For those grains of sand I imprint my footstep upon will be cast into the ocean, but then one day be delivered back to the beach, simply to be there to support the footsteps of tomorrow.